I'm just.
All right. Is my voice clear for everyone?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. All right. All right.
So Dr. Sharaf Eldin is visiting us from Egypt, from Al-Menoufiya University, and his presentation will be about the use of euphemism in standard and colloquial Arabic, which is a study of Cairo based at Al-Ahram University. Dr. Sharaf Eldin.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for presenting me. I'm really so excited today to be here with all. Is the mic working? Right. So the topic that I would like to talk about today is about the use of euphemism in the one of the most important Egyptian newspaper. Right, so it's all about the use of euphemism in one of the most important Egyptian newspapers, the Al-Ahram newspaper. And in my presentation, I would like to show how can we find a way between using language on one hand and also consider other cultural and social dimensions in our daily interactions. So let's see, first of all, here is the euphemism in Arabic, which is called al-talattuf al-lughawi. What does it mean, and what is the significance of using euphemism in our daily life? So, in our daily interactions, we have something which is called the oral interaction, and we have also the written interactions. Both of them could have a very important and significant feature of euphemistic expression. Well, first of all, we would like to define what is euphemism. So we have Leach 1974 defines euphemism as a practice of referring to something offensive or something that could be unpleasant to the audience or to the hearer or to the listener. So it's an expression intended by the speaker to be less offensive or less disturbing to the audience. So instead of saying something that could be offensive or aggressive or direct, then people used to use another way, the very indirect way, which is technically and linguistically, it is called euphemism. Right. So that's another important part. Euphemism as a universal phenomenon. It's believed that euphemism is universal, not specific, and that is something that could make sense. Euphemism is not just used in Arabic, but in English and in every sort, every kind of language in the world, we can use euphemism. And this is because of the function of euphemism plays in languages. It deals with the human feelings and by exploiting some capacities inside language. Here I have a cartoon, and it shows how important it is that euphemism could be used not just in Arabic, but even and in different cultural and social contexts. As you can see here, that we have the attorney or the lawyer, and he's talking to the judge saying, "Lying is such a harsh word. Your Honor, we prefer to call it testimony without borders." So instead of saying lying, no, please, we don't want to use this word. We would like to use some other different words. Why? The question is, why do we use euphemism in our daily life? We probably use euphemism and we don't feel that. We use euphemism and we don't understand sometimes what we are talking about. But we have it and we use it every day. Now, the reasons for using euphemism a lot. We have number one, politeness. So we would like to show ourselves as we are polite people. Disguise. We would like to hide something. We want to show it explicitly, so we try to hide it. Elegance. We would like to show also as we are elegant, and also trying to avoid some taboo topics. Let's see how it goes here. Euphemism across cultural communication. Now, in order to understand the concept and the meaning of euphemism, then we should understand different elements. What is culture and the society and the context as well. Now, I have here a video, and that's why I'm talking like sitting here, because I wanted to show the video now to all of you. The video is a comedy video. It's a funny one. It's a funny video. And let me just give you the context to understand that, first of all. So we're going to have in the video, we're going to have a TV reporter who is coming to one of his guests, one of the passers-by in the street, and he will ask him a question. But the question is very direct, very straightforward. The TV reporter did not use any kind of euphemism. And now the guest felt very offended. So we're gonna see the situation now on what happened. Now the TV reporter asked the guest one simple question. That is, what is the name of your mother? And so that's why in some communities, like the Arab communities, and I'm talking about the Egyptian context, if you ask a question like that, this is very defensive. And so instead of saying some other questions, or instead of saying the same question in another euphemistic way, he did not use euphemism at all. And look at what happened to him at the end. Let me just show you the video. So now let me just show you here the video, and let's see what happened to the TV reporter. So it started to be a big riddle between the TV reporter and his guest. So instead of saying the question in a euphemistic way, no, he used a very direct way. He did not consider some of them. And I understand that this is a comic video, but it's very clear about how important it is to activate and to employ euphemism in our language. Now let me just get back again here. And now euphemism and politeness, and I think that we talked about that. Now another strategy here, why euphemism and indirectness? So now we talked about the concept of euphemism, which is in Arabic, as I said, talaquf. Sometimes they say indirectness, which is in Arabic, al-mubara, like to use another indirect way. And so number one, we have the first element here for using that, it is the efficiency in communication. So when you use a euphemistic way, it looks like that you're going to be very efficient and very powerful communicator as well. And the second one is the power of expressing what you want to say. Features of euphemism. So as I mentioned before, it is in our daily life, that's number one. And number two, it happens in different genders. So it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. And number three, it happens among different people of social status. So if you're just coming from a high level of social status or low level, you use euphemism in a way or another. Now, indirectness strategy in language. Again, so indirectness is another part inside euphemism, and it's a universal phenomenon as well. And it's used not just in verbal language, but also non-verbal language, like sign language, like any kind of symbols, any kind of cartoons. And we have something which is called intentional indirectness or intentional euphemism. But as a matter of fact, if you use euphemism, it is something that is risky and costly. And why? Why it's risky? I can be very indirect in my language, but it's risky because you may not understand what I want to say. That's the risky part. And it's also costly. It's costly for me as a speaker because it takes time and effort to produce indirect way of language. And it's also costly for the listener as well because you spend a lot of time to understand what they want to say. Right. Here I have samples coming from a lot of others. Now, I did the research. I wrote a research about that. It's an academic research. It should be published soon. So here I used my analysis. I tried to analyze the headlines in Ahram newspaper and in two different levels: the standard way, the standard Arabic, the classical Arabic, and also the colloquial Arabic as well. And here we have one example. So that's the headline that was published last year, and it says التركيز على المشروعات التعليم والبنية التحتية والفئات الأكثر احتياجا. The focus on educational projects, infrastructure, and the most needy sectors. And so here, instead of saying the poorest sects in the society, they use another different euphemistic expression. Here I have another example. It says here in the headline, المحكمة الدستورية تحسم الجدل حول قانون التضاد. And in English, Constitutional Court settles controversy over demonstration law in Egypt. So again, they use another euphemistic expression. So they use the word in Arabic تحسم الجدل, which means to settle controversy, instead of saying disagreements or conflicts or disputes. Now, here another sample in the colloquial way, not in the standard Arabic, but in the colloquial way of using Arabic. It says here, the headline says, مصنع أعلاف كفر الشيخ خارج الخدمة. كفر الشيخ's forage factory is out of service. So instead of saying that the factory is stopping, it's not working, they use another euphemistic way, out of service, instead of saying it completely stops. Now here is the conclusion. So it's observed that euphemism will gain more publicity, legitimacy, and respectability. This is something that can be very clear in our society. And the second point is euphemism is to protect the speaker and the writer, and also the reader, from possible offenses that could happen in daily communicative interactions. And the third point, among different conclusions, euphemism enables people to communicate smoothly and without any conflict, especially when it comes to social issues. I think that's the end. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you just have any questions, let me know.
I would give the mic to the audience if you have questions for Dr. Abdel Malik or Dr. Sharaf Eldin. We're ready to, yes. Yes, Doctor.
Yeah, can I have the microphone? I think I can speak now.
Can
you hear me, guys? First of all, I'd like to thank all speakers for their interesting presentations. Special thanks to our colleague, Dr. Ahmad Abdel Malik, for his interesting and full of information that we learned today. My question is to Dr. Ahmed. Now, you mentioned something about euphemism and how people should be euphemistic when they communicate with each other, right? And you mentioned that there are three variables that we should rely on when we consider whether someone is euphemistic or not. You mentioned that it is the context, the audience as well, I would say, and
the cultural
background,
social dimensions.
Don't you think that the video that you just showed right now was some kind of, or lacks one of these three variables, meaning that had been that situation in a format? Well, to start with, the guy who was making the interview was never a TV presenter,
right.
And the situation itself was never meant to be some kind of a formal, I would say, interview.
Right.
So don't you think that had the interviewee, the guy who was interviewed, known that he was in a real situation where he is being asked that question, simply he would never act in such manner. He would just simply answer the question.
Right.
So what I think is that because one of the three components, or probably two of them, were not there, that caused this some kind of unexpected reaction from the speakers, or from the guy who was interviewed. And my other point here is that you were referring to the translation of euphemistic expressions from Arabic into English. Now, don't you think that both texts, the original text, the meta text, and the source text and the meta text were both trying to be euphemistic in their expressions? Even in the Arabic version, it says ذوي الاحتياجات. They could have said الفقراء, but they didn't say that. So what I say that I do totally agree with you that euphemism appears both in the source text as well as the other text. But I would say that the translator, which is I'm always defending my colleague as well, because I'm a translator, was successful in conveying that message, that they're trying to hide something that is not. They don't want to show that this problem is of great gravity to the society, whether when they talk about the needy sectors or when we talk about Kafr Sheikh factory was out of service, because they want to be euphemistic. So they managed that in both the Arabic version as well as the.
So you want to say the translator was very successful in translating the text?
I would say so.
Well, the person who translated that is me.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And my point here is that both of them, they were trying to hide something. So it's not that the English version managed to do that. I thought that you were talking that the English version,
no, it's the
instead
Arabic.
of saying, so both of them, I would say, succeeded in being euphemistic. And thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, let me just make my comment here on what you said. So the original text is the Arabic one. Then the translation is in English. The job of the translator not to hide anything.
Of course.
The job of the translator is to convey what he has to the other language, honestly and in a very complete honesty. And I just focus on that. If you're just talking about like the original text in Arabic has a lot of euphemistic expressions, the question is to what extent the translator will be able to convey the sense in the meaning as well. Like I can use another word in English, but this may not be reflecting what the Arabic text would like to say. That's another challenging part, especially in linguistics and in translation studies. And so I guess here, and again, as you said, the Arabic text, the journalist who used these words in Arabic, he wanted to hide something that could be. As I mentioned before, in euphemism and indirectness, it is risky. It's risky because there might be a sense of misunderstanding sometimes between the two elements, the producer of the text and the receiver of the text. And by the way, euphemism even used in Quran. In the verse, أَوْلَا مَسْتُمِ النِّسَاءَ. And now we're going to have different interpretations. What does it mean? And what does the word refer to? And again, so this is something that is very normal, very natural, happening in our daily life.
The very verse that you referred to is one of my verses one of the verses that I studied and analyzed thoroughly. Having this idea of euphemism in mind and how to convey certain messages that will be considered taboo to certain people or to most people in a very polite and I would say diligent manner.
Right. Let me just tell you another example. I'm sorry, I just responded to this point. I was teaching in the United States. I was teaching for 3 years. I was teaching American students. I was teaching them Arabic language and I was teaching them English as well. I was teaching them linguistics, some linguistics parts. The way of interaction between a professor who is coming from an Arab-speaking country, who is Egyptian Arab citizen, teaching American students who have another different background, cultures. So I was using euphemistic expressions while dealing with my students. Sometimes we were not using the same way. So I have to just take down my foot and say, no, the Arabic culture, in the Arab culture, you should use this word and this expression. Don't tell me that your cultural background is unsettled. No, you're learning the Arabic language and you should learn the cultural background of Arabic as well. One of the most important of the Arabic language is formality in interaction. And so the cultural background between the speaker and the listener, something that's
And what about the video where the situations will change, you know, and it's part of real life? So don't you think that you would answer the question?
Yes,
You would
I
definitely.
I need
definitely.
to take other questions.
Yeah, yeah, sorry, I'm done.
Dr. Affan?
I'm done.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Professor Affan,
Yes, I wanted to ask, yes. When you look at all of this, where the economics stand, does that make a big difference in the use of euphemism, or it's not important?
Well, I just mentioned that. I just mentioned the, well, probably I did not refer to the economic situation.
Can I answer the doctor?
All right.
I'm so sorry, my name is Professor Maisa Salehi, and I'm working in Department of Foreign Languages, and I'm very happy to thank both speakers, Dr. Ahmad Abdel Malik and Dr. Ahmad again. So actually, I have just a small comment to add. I love the topic because it has to do with my specialty actually, and yeah, my specialty is in sociology, and I studied also linguistics for a long time and the differences between genders. And my question is, I'd like to refer to the euphemism as politeness in language. Actually, it is part of, it's part of, and we can't just separate these parts from each other. So I will take, them as a whole, and I will refer to it as politeness in language. So my question is, do you believe that, both genders, you said that,
To answer Dr. Affan's
right. Okay, actually, economics, we are talking about etiquette, if I may just, say that. Etiquette is one branch, I would say, in business, and it has to do with politeness, using, language, dealing with customers and dealing with customer service, and it has to do with business. So if I answer just, so language has to do with etiquette, language has to do with politeness, language has to do with all of that, if this was, doctor's
Why don't
question.
we keep Dr. Ahmed answer the question if he
Yes.
if he has another
But my
I'll give you
question-
time to
okay.
ask the question. Yeah.
Another question?
So the question,
My
did she answer your question, Afan? You want to ask it again to Dr. Sharaf?
Okay. Now-
We move on. Okay.
Okay,
I will just make a comment after that.
my question is about, of course, I agree with my colleague, Professor Fadi, about the video that you showed is really not a natural video of
Yes.
how people communicate, okay? One of the factors that need to be considered as well when you're talking about if an expression is euphemistic or not would be the power relationships between the two speakers. Okay? So are they hierarchically up and down? Is the speaker higher than the listener? Are they called co-colleagues?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
because say if two people are very close and one of them they're trying to communicate and one of them is using euphemistic expressions, that's not natural.
Yes.
Like, if you and I were good friends and I'm watching TV and you're standing in front of me, I would just tell you, could you move out of my, or I might even use some words that are inappropriate, and it would be acceptable. So really, power is a very important factor to be considered when dealing with, in other words, it's not absolute. Euphemism is context dependent, and that's why it is studied in linguistics under pragmatics.
That's really very, very good point. It sheds light on to what extent we can just consider power in language. The power of language, and then power inside language.
And I'm not that, but if you see, I saw you referencing reach there. If you look at, the politeness principles of reach, when considering whether or not this expression is polite, it says things like what face-threatening acts.
Right.
What you are saying could offend, face being ma'al-wajh, we would call it in Arabic. Okay? And we employ, as speakers, when we communicate, what are called face-saving strategies. And out of that, comes, the relationships of cost and benefit, who's benefiting, who's that, self and other. And when we talk about self and other, that's where power
That's
into
true.
play.
Very true.
That's where power is.
And there are also some other different points, including inside power. Fairclough, 1974, talked about that as well. Norman Fairclough, Deborah Sheffrin, Deborah Tannen, all of such famous linguists, they talk about the power inside language and power relations in language. They like definitely
Between the self and the other,
and
the
that
speaker
is
and the
right.
addresser and the addressee.
That's very important, and it happens, by the way, in every language, not just in English, not just in Arabic, and it depends on some other different points, as you said. So one of the colleagues mentioned the economic status, the social status as well, and the relationship. So I gave you the example here when I was teaching in the US. I was a professor, so I was supposed to have power. And now what happened is I put the euphemism aside and I used another way because I have the power here and it should be imposed. And so definitely yes, power and powerful relations between the addresser and the addressee is quite important when it comes to the daily interactions. Definitely.
The further away they are, the more euphemism.
Right.
Let's give time because yeah, we still have 4 minutes. I can take one more question.
سؤال للدكتور أحمد عبد المالك.
Yes.
دكتور بس معلش أشكرك على الفيدباك أعطيتنا إياه عن الأدب، بسميه أنا أدب قطري يعني. دكتور هل في هنالك جهود ما دام نحن نتكلم عن الرواية القطرية والأدب القطري وتكلمنا عن الترجمة واللغة الإنجليزية، هل هنالك خلينا نتكلم عن هل هنالك مجهود لترجمة هذه الروايات أو هذا الأدب إلى اللغة الإنجليزية أو اللغات الأخرى؟ ذلك من أجل أنها تكون يعني متوفرة، وزي ما بتعرف دكتور إنه قطر إذا كوسموبوليتان كونتري ففيها من جنسيات كثيرة، فأتوقع إنه من الملائم أو من المناسب اللي يكون في نوع من عملية نقل الرسالة إلى اللغات الأخرى. أشكرك.
I wish I said my piece in English, at least I would have customers. Unfortunately, Ahmed defeated me. Anyway, thank you. صحيح. طيب احنا عندنا خطة في وزارة الثقافة لترجمة بعض الأعمال، وهي تعرف الأمور هذه أقل يعني تعتمد على المسؤول مدى حبه للترجمة أم لا. هي قضية محسوبة في الوطن العربي. لكن الجهود اللي انا يعني لاحظت جيدا هي جهود قطر، ان هي في بعد كل مهرجان من مهرجانات من مهرجانات اللغه من الروايه تقوم بترجمه الروايات الفائزه الخمس الى 3 لغات، وهذا جيد جدا، يعني العربيه والانجليزيه والاسبانيه والفرنسيه. فهذا اول شيء انتشار الكاتب العربي بدون تحديد أي جنسية. ثاني شيء هو نقل المضمون إلى الناطقين بالغير العربي، وأنا أعتقد هذا مشروع جيد. كان عندنا في وزارة الثقافة لما كنا موجودين مشروع للترجمة، مشروع ضخم جدا وحدد له ميزانية ضخمة جدا، لا أعرف أنها ما أذكرها، ولكن توقف المشروع لأن مثل ما قلت يعني في كثير من الأحيان توقف المشاريع على الأفراد اللي يجون يدورون، وبالتالي توقف المشروع. ولكن الكتابة مستمرة، يعني حسب في معرض الكتاب الأخير كان في أكثر من 6 كتب مترجمة إلى 3 لغات، وهذا شيء جيد يخدم
I think that is all, but we can take one more question.
Yes, can we
yes,
for sure.
I'm sorry, yeah. We still have one question. Very fast.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بداية أتقدم بالشكر الجزيل لرئيس الجلسة وللزميلين المتحدثين. أبدأ مع الدكتور أحمد عبد الملك، حقيقة وهذا العرض الجميل، وكنت أتمنى أن يطول قليلا لأنه ما شاء الله يعني ربما كل رواية تحتاج إلى يعني محاضرة بهذا الحجم من الوقت. استوقفتني رواية القرصان وقد قرأتها يعني من يعني اهتمام، وأعتقد الدكتور أحمد هذه كنت توافقني على ذلك أو لا، أن رواية القرصان تمثل نقطة تحول حقيقي بالنسبة للرواية القطرية من الناحية الزمنية أو الناحية التاريخية. سؤال الدكتور أحمد وقد عرض يعني باهتمام التحول الموضوعي في الرواية القطرية، هل رصدت دكتور تحولا فنيا في الأسلوب في اللغة؟ يعني أرجو أن تجيب على هذا السؤال. الدكتور أحمد شرف الدين يعني مشكور على هذه المحاضرة القيمة أيضا. يعني أعتقد أن موضوع الترقف اللغوي يعني لا يقف عند فقط، يعني ربما لا أدري، هكذا فهمت أنا أنك حصرته في مسألة حتى لا يحصل خلاف، ورفضت ذلك بمقطع الفيديو، وكنت أتوقع أن تقدم لنا بديلا، يعني ما اسم أمك، يعني بدنا بديل غير مباشر، يعني في ترقب حتى نعرف اسم الأم حتى لا نثير أعصاب هذا الرجل. هذا ليس سؤالي طبعا. سؤالي أو إضافتي في هذا الموضوع، أعتقد بأن التلطف اللغوي، وقد أشرت أنه موجود بالقرآن، موجود بكثرة بالقرآن الكريم والحديث النبوي أيضا، هدفه الأول هو إيصال الفكرة إلى المتلقي وإقناعه بها والتأثير عليه. مثلا أعطي مثال على ذلك قوله تعالى: كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم. بعد ذلك يقول القرآن أياما معدودات، يعني أيام في اللغة العربية جمع قلة، وكأن القرآن يخفف ويلطف من هذا الشهر الفضيل أو من ثقل هذا الصيام خاصة بالحق على الإنسان. فأعتقد أن المرتبة أو الهدف الأول في التلطف اللغوي سواء في اللغة العربية أو غيرها هو إيصال الفكرة وإقناع والتأثير. وشكرا لكم مرة أخرى.
صحيح. أنا طبعا في الكتاب الأخير اللي أشرت له يحلل الرواية القطرية، استطعت أن أحلل 5 روايات قطرية، ومن ضمنها القرصان اللي احنا نسميها في الأدب الخصائص السردية، اللي هي الحدث والشخصية والمكان والزمان واللغة. هذه أساس في أي رواية إذا أردنا أن نحللها. أيضا نعم هناك يعني في تطور في اللغة، أنا لاحظت يعني تطور في اللغة، بدل ما تكون الرواية سمعت راوية من أبوها ولا من أختها وسجلت نفس الكلمات شعبية جدا، تطورت المفرد، تطورت عند عبد الرحيم الصديقي مثلا في 2000، وأيضا تطورت عند القرصان. يعني القرصان اهتم بوصف المكان، وهذا قليل ووصف الزمان، لأنه أعطانا ينطلق إلى مدارين في المملكة، إلى الزبارة في قطر، إلى بوشهر في الساحل الثاني، إلى خورفكان، إلى مسقط، إلى بومبي، ويصف المكان. هذا كان غير موجود في الرواية. أيضا الزمان، يصف لك الزمان لما يسرون ليل، ومعركة الرص اللي صارت بين جيش إبراهيم باشا والمدافعين عن مدينة الرص في المملكة، وأيضا معارك مع البريطانيين، مقتل ابن الحاكم من حاكم البحرين، واتهم ان القرصان او حمر الجابه هو الذي قتله، بينما هو ضاح بفعل الريح وقتل الله السبيل. المهم هذه يعني الزمان والمكان. ايضا الحدث في الروايه القطريه كان سطحي جدا في البدايه، يعني بسيط، لكن اصبح بعد تجربه 20 سنه او اكثر صار اعمق الحدث، كما حدث في روايه العريضه لنور سعد، او روايه تداعي الفصول لمريم سعد او غيرها من الروايات. فنعم تطورت الخصائص السرديه التي لم تكن درست، لان كل اللي كتبوا الروايات لم يدرسوا خصائص الروايه ولم ابد كتبوها كهواء. لكن انا اقول لك في هذا الكتاب اللي وضعته، انا اعتقد وضعنا قاعده لمن سيكتب الروايه يجب ان يلتزم بها.
Did you want to answer, or was it a question?
Would you like to answer in English or in Arabic?
بالنسبة لي عربي.
بالعربية. يعني أنا حقيقة أنا أتفق معك في رأيك، وأنت قلت أن فكرة التلطف اللغوي الهدف الأساسي منها هي نقل المعنى. سيدي الكريم، الهدف الأساسي ليس من التلطف اللغوي، الهدف الأساسي من اللغة ونقل المعنى. أما التلطف اللغوي هذه ظاهرة لغوية تحدث بداخل اللغة. وأنت تحدثت عن فكرة الربط بين التلطف اللغوي والإقناع من خلال نقل المعنى بأسلوب غير مباشر. لكن السؤال الذي أطرحه الآن هو ما هو المعنى؟ أي معنى تتحدث عنه؟ وما هي ماهية وتركيبة هذا المعنى؟ يعني أنت تقول لو سألتك ما هو المعنى، حدد لي ما هو مفهوم معنى في اللغة. تقول لي هو الهدف والنقطة التي أصل إليها، هو ما أريد أن أبحث عنه. لا، يعني هذه كلها أهداف المعنى. لكن فكرة المعنى في الأساس هي فكرة إدراكية، هي صورة ذهنية بداخل ذهن الإنسان. ولذلك عندما نقول معنى أنت ربطت الإقناع، أنت قلت الإقناع والتلطف اللغوي، فأنا أتفق معك. وأضيف على ذلك أن التلطف اللغوي فيه أمر هام جدا، وهي فكرة أنه يثير الأمور الإدراكية داخل ذهن الإنسان، هو يقوم بعملية تنشيط ذهني للمتلقي، فالمتلقي يفكر ماذا يقصد المتحدث بهذا الأمر. وبالتالي أنا أتفق معك أن الهدف من التلطف بالفعل إقناع، ولكن قبل الإقناع تنشيط النواحي الإدراكية داخل الذهن.
شكرا جزيلا. Sorry, we'll keep it on this, that's because I have to give this certificate of appreciation. So I think Dr. Abdel Malik. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your attendance, and I can move to the next
All right, can we use a couple of minutes just to test things out because, you know, okay. But what about the audience members?
Just a partner special session is if you
Well, I think that's a little different.
It's going to have to work.
I wouldn't say that this is diplomatic language. I would say this is euphemism. Well, if I'm a diplomat, I would say
Can a person learn to study?
We will do.
yeah,
I don't like your paper or something like that.
Well, the reason